So again, so up next is our student presentation, and we always appreciate Dr. Robert Hines for being willing to help us with this process and to assist us with the organization of our student presentations. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Hines to moderate this portion of our conference. Thank you, Dr. Hines.
Okay, let's see, did I do it? Well, let's see. Okay, bear with me. Shoot. Okay, and I'm having some fun. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of fun with Zoom here. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. Uh, I guess I have to ask Keela, can you see me right now?
I can see your screen. Google, are you trying to share the
Yeah, I apologize.
what
I
you
do
see?
use Zoom, and I clicked on something and it kind of took me to some little hyper universe, and I don't want to blow
Okay.
myself out of the session altogether. So
Uh-huh. Were you trying to share the what you had sent?
yeah, well, no, I just want to, maybe I should be asking right now, can you see the top part of the program here?
Oh, yes, yes. Now
Yeah,
we see it.
okay,
Yeah.
so that's the important thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I apologize for that. Okay, thank you, Keela. And if there's something that doesn't look right on the screen, just stop me and I'll try to fix it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. My name is Bob Hines, and I'm the moderator for the undergraduate poster session. I've been doing this for I think 12 to 15 years now. I don't know the exact number of years, but it's always a great pleasure to me. And it's really important to me to be a part of the Arkansas Psychological Association. So I appreciate all of that. I do want to give a shout out to to my colleagues who have helped me with organizing this poster session. There's Dr. Eric Pritchard, who I understand is the president of ARPA right now. And then there's Christy, and she helped out with the judging. And I'm not sure if she's here right now. Estefani Soto has been helpful for a number of years with this and with today's organization as well. And I also want to give a shout out to our presenters this time. As you all know, for over 2.5 years now, the world has been dealing with this pandemic. It's hit us in a lot of ways, but one thing it's made very difficult to do is laboratory research. There's probably 100 more important impacts that the pandemic has had on our lives. But for people like me who depend upon laboratory research for their for the professional portion, the scholarly portion of their careers, a lot of that's been put on hold. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is I want to give, a real shout out, a real show of support to the students who were able to get research done during this very difficult time. And so in my regard, you're all winners. And I do believe there'll be a judging portion for this. We will have a prize that we'll be notifying people about afterwards, after the convention is over. And Christy is going to be helping with that. And we always love to hear your feedback on this. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to start the undergraduate presentations here. The first one that we'll be having present, the title is The Relationship Between Perceived Social Support and Its Efforts on Preventing Stress as Moderated by Income Levels. And I am going to read the authors' names, and I give my apologies ahead of time if I mispronounce one of your names. If I do, you can interrupt me and correct me now, or if you want to wait until you're in the portion of the session where you're addressing the group and answering questions, whichever you prefer. But the authors for this presentation: Kelly Brewer, Anamita Deb, Swathi Menton, Emily Ann Del Rosario, who's a graduate student now, and their faculty mentor, Lauren Quetch. Okay, and they're at the University of Arkansas. And we do have the recording of their presentation, and I need just a second to bring that up. And again, as I do so, this is not a hyperlink, which you see me working with right now. I had to bring this over into Google. Okay. Copy. And as I do this, again, if there's some technical difficulty, it may appear right on my end or presenting right on my end. But if there's some problem for the viewers, you folks on your end, interrupt me so I can see if I can correct it in some way. But again, here is our first student presentation.
Hello, we're a part of the Family and Community Intervention Lab at the University of Arkansas. My name is Callie Brewer.
I'm Arnika Deb.
And I'm Swathi Menon. Our study looked at the relationship between perceived social support and its effect on parenting stress as moderated by income in parents of children with autism spectrum disorder or ASD.
So for a little bit of background, autism spectrum disorder or ASD has been linked to an increase in parental stress for caregivers. Past research has shown that social support reduces stress for caregivers as well. There's also been research that shows that informal social support was viewed as more helpful than formal social support. And there's also research that shows that a lack of access to formal support resources increases stress. This background information led us to ask our research question. Is income a moderator in the relationship between perceived social support and its effect on parenting stress?
So the methods of how we collected data and got our results is, so initially we had participants who were caregivers of youth between the ages of 0 to 17, and they were diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. Only families who completed the multidimensional scale of perceived social support and parenting stress index short form were eligible to participate. Participants also completed a measure that assessed household income. Linear regressions and a moderation analysis were conducted to analyze variable relationships. So for our study, we wanted to look at the relationship between parent perceived social support and parent stress levels. We also wanted to look at how this relationship is moderated by household income levels.
For the results of our study, we conducted linear regressions to determine the relationships between perceived social support and income level and what effect that had on parenting stress. We also ran a moderation model to determine if the association between perceived parent social support and parent stress was moderated by household income level. From the linear regressions, we were able to determine that greater perceived social support is associated with decreased parenting stress with a p-value of less than 0.001. We were also able to determine that household income moderated this relationship with a p-value of less than 0.001. And this is a graph that shows the relationship between parent perceived social support and parent stress as grouped by income levels. As you can see, it was similar throughout income level, but the biggest difference between levels was seen at the lowest income level, which was our group earning less than $35,999 per year. And for our discussion, we were able to find that it is important to consider additional factors when addressing parental stress. And our results indicated that there are additional influences that impact parental stress and access to support. And in the future, further investigations should be conducted to examine how income affects perceptions of social support And these investigations should also look to determine if income affects perceptions of formal and informal social support differently. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you.
Hello, we're a part of the
Oh,
Family
sorry.
Committee.
I don't think I was supposed to start that. Yeah, okay. And now I'm going to try to come back to the group. Don't need to see all my emails. Okay, and so I want to thank that. I believe Kelly is here. Are you still with us, Kelly? Yeah, thank you. And we would like to open it up for questions. And my first question is, how did you get access to your sample of parents? Was it online or did you have in-person contact with them?
It was an online survey and we used the Spark database.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. And if there's anyone else that has a question, by all means, share. I know that if you can read the chat box, I'm having funny things go on with my screen, and forgive me for that. But if you can read in the chat box, let me, go ahead and answer the questions as you can. And because I have other follow-up questions, but they're not directly related to your research. And okay. All right, here we go. And yeah. Kelly, I did want to ask you and any of the students that are there with you, do you have plans to go on to graduate school someday? And if you do, what type of specialization, like what area do you want to study?
I want to go on, I'm hoping to do a master's of social work. I'm interested in poverty reduction specifically, so something along those lines.
You,
I'm planning on going to graduate school for physical therapy because I'd like to pursue pediatric PT.
great, wonderful. And if there's another student there, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm interested in going to med school and probably focusing in neurosurgery.
Great, that's wonderful. And did we get everyone? I didn't want to leave anyone out if there's anyone else that wants to talk. Yeah.
Yep, that was everyone.
Good. Now, Kelly, can you see the chat box on your screen? I apologize. I'm having some kind of dancing around issues with my screen here, but I don't know if somebody type in a question to the chat box. If they are, feel free to field that question if you can.
There's no questions right now, but I am looking at it while we're talking.
Okay, good. All right, well, thank you very much. And I want to show my appreciation for your presentation. I think we're going to try to move on to the second one. And again, I have to ask, I'm sorry about this, boy. Okay, weird things going on. Okay. And Gila, I'm not sure if you're there. Could you see? Okay, now I may be back. Good, great.
Okay.
And I am sharing. Good. And
I see it.
okay, do you see the program here now where we'll have creativity and humor, Kelly? Or Akila?
Yeah, I do see it.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, and I apologize. I'm usually not this awkward with technology. I have a double screen, two screens working at, and they're kind of cooperating and kind of not. But okay, so if there's not any other questions from the first group of presenters, any more questions, I should say, we're going to move on to the second group here. And we have creativity and humor. And I just want to check, I think our presenter is here, but if she is Daria here? If you are, just unmute your mic and say hello. Oh, I'm sorry, Zinnia, Zinnia Mao, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay, I apologize that I looked at the faculty name and stuff.
That's okay.
Okay, all right, thank you. We'll have you back in just a few minutes. So the next presentation is called Creativity and Humor, the Role of Alcohol, Expectation Effects, and Familiarity in Creative Cognition. And the author is Zinnia Mao, and the faculty mentor is Daria L. Zabelina. And they're at the University of Arkansas. And again, I'm going to bring up their presentation.
Hello, my name is Cindy, and I am an honors senior undergraduate student at the University of Arkansas. My study, Creativity and Humor, the Role of Alcohol, Expectation Effects, and Familiarity in Creative Cognition, is part of my undergraduate thesis project, and I'm working under my mentor, Dr. Daria Zabelina, who leads the Mechanisms of Creative Cognition and Attention Lab in the Department of Psychological Sciences at the University of Arkansas. So just some background to give you some more context. Alcohol has been suggested to boost creative thinking, which is a set of mental processes used to produce novel ideas. And it has also been shown to enhance humor production, which is the ability to create humor that is widely accepted and understood by others. Additionally, the majority of alcohol consumption occurs in social settings, which leads to enhanced elation and social coherence in a group. A meta-analysis examining risk factors of alcohol use disorders in unfamiliar social settings revealed that alcohol's social emotional effects were significantly stronger while interacting with strangers compared to interacting with familiar individuals. So this could provide more context of alcohol abuse and misuse in social settings, as alcohol is oftentimes used as a tactic for positive mood. So the goal of this study is to investigate the effects of alcohol and familiarity on humor production. And so for this study specifically, I'll examine only the expectation of having consumed alcohol rather than actual alcohol consumption. Participants will be randomly assigned to believe they're drinking a standard 5.4% alcohol by volume beer, which is known as the pseudo-alcoholic group, or they'll be told they're drinking a non-alcoholic 0.0% ABV beer. However, in reality, all participants will be drinking the same non-alcoholic beer shown on the right. This provides some insight on the placebo effect and subjective expectancies, as literature has shown that simply assuming to have consumed alcohol resulted in higher evaluations of creative output. And this study will be run in a bar simulation environment in which participants will be asked to complete the joke stems task, where they're given the start of the joke and asked to complete the joke in an original, creative, or humorous way, any way that they can think of. So I predict that there will be a main effect of alcohol condition where participants who consume the pseudo-alcoholic drink will create more humorous jokes. And I also predict that there will be a main effect of familiarity where participants who complete the joke stems task in the presence of a friend rather than a stranger will produce more humorous jokes. And then finally, I predict an interaction between drink condition and familiarity condition in which participants who consume the pseudo-alcoholic drink in the presence of a friend will produce the most humorous jokes. And since I haven't run this study as a whole and haven't started data analysis, we don't have any conclusions to make. However, we do have many implications that this study could be used for future study and for outside real world applications. And so there are many implications on the risk factors of alcohol use disorder in familiar and unfamiliar social settings, and just alcohol as a social facilitator in unfamiliar and familiar social contexts. And this will also provide insight on humor as a creative mode, as humor isn't much a widely accepted realm of creative thinking. And then also humor production and the joke stems task will provide us more information on how humor contributes to divergent and spontaneous thinking and creative cognition for humor production. So yeah, that is my quick overview of my study. Thank you for your time. And here are their.
Okay, and all right, and now, do you go by Cindy as your first name?
Yes.
Okay, good, Cindy. And we're back here, and I want to thank you for that. I know I have a couple questions, and one of the questions is, how are you going to deal in your study? How are you going to deal with if some of your research participants realize that the drink doesn't have any alcohol in it? Like they may be experienced drinkers and they may be able to taste that there's no real alcohol in it. How are you going to deal with that?
Right. We have a question at the end of the study asking them if they had any idea of like what the study was about. And if we find that they might have had an inkling that this wasn't alcoholic, or they kind of knew what we were trying to get at, then we would definitely not include them in the data analysis, and obviously still compensate them, thank them, and debrief them as we would with any other participant.
Good. And how are you going to judge their jokes in terms of the level of humor in them? How is that going to come about?
So we are going to give the responses. So we're going to record the responses on an audio recording device and then transcribe them. And essentially, we're going to send them to some additional research assistants in the MOCA lab that I'm in. And they have no idea what the study's about, what I'm trying to measure. And then we'll have at least 5 RAs rate the humor task responses on a scale of 0 to 2. And we'll average those out. Obviously, humor is subjective to each person. And so our goal is to find an average of the research assistants in our lab and go from there.
Great. Now, again, Cindy, from your computer, can you see the chat box? I'm not aware if anyone submitted a question for you.
Yes, I can see the chat box. So do participants participate in the same environment, lab, bar? So they'll be participating in the same environment. It's a lab in one of our buildings. Thankfully, another faculty member in the psychology department has a whole lab that looks and is designed to have the environment of a pub. It has like darts and props and posters and glasses and a bar stand. And so it looks really, really similar to a real bar. And we'll be running them in the afternoon, and we'll keep that time consistent between all subjects between 12 and 5. And it won't be anything containing nighttime, just to respect schedules of everyone, of my RAs and of students.
Mm-hmm.
And then the beverage we're planning to use is Heineken 0.0 beers. And so they're in the can that I showed on the presentation, and we'll use that for all participants across the board, but half of them will be randomly assigned to believe that they are drinking an alcoholic beer, and others will be told that it is non-alcoholic.
Are there any other questions there? I wanted to ask about your future, Cindy. Do you plan to go on to graduate school someday? And if so, what area would you like to study?
I'm planning on going to med school, but taking a couple of years to do some clinical work and do a year of service and travel.
Good. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. And I just want to check, is there anyone else, any of the attendees that want to unmute their mic and ask a question of Cindy? Okay.
There is another question in the chat, Dr. Hines.
Oh, okay. Could you see that, Cindy? I apologize. I can't see it.
Yes. Could you please elaborate on what the baseline measure you're asking about is?
Yeah. So do you have a control?
We don't have necessarily a control. We're planning on using just the non-alcoholic group as the control.
Okay, I guess what I'm not understanding, can you hear me?
Yes.
What I'm not understanding is your instrument that you're using to compute your differences or your change. Is it a change score? Did I understand that correct?
No, it's not a change between the participants. So half of them will be given the idea that it is alcohol, and the other half will not, and we'll be measuring their differences in humor production levels.
But when does that evaluation occur? Before or after the experimentation with the quote drink?
Their humor levels being measured,
Yeah,
that happens after.
and there's nothing, no measure of that before.
No, they have a questionnaire before they drink about their perception of humor, but nothing after.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And, all right. And thank you very much, Cindy. I don't know if there's any more questions. If there are, feel free to read them, but I think that's it. And again, I want to express my appreciation to you for your presentation, and good luck with the study, okay? And, good. And we're back here, and again, Keila, I don't mean to keep putting you on the spot, but I just want to check. Can you confirm that you can see the next presentation list on the screen, the title related?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
good.
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Yeah, thank you. And again, okay, so now we have our third presentation and last presentation for today. And I just want to see if any of the presenters are with us, Parker or Logan, or Logan, you're here. Good. So I just wanted to make sure somebody's here. So hello, and we'll
Yes,
get back to you
hello.
in just a second, okay? Thank
Awesome.
you. Great. Okay, so our third presentation, the title is Relations Between Reported CBD Efficacy for Anxiety and Symptom Alleviation Among CBD Users. And the authors are Parker Williams, Logan Denman, Isabel Escobar, Riley Newmay, sorry, I can't, and Morgan Ferretti. And the faculty mentor is Dr. Ellen Lean Feldner. And again, if I mispronounced any names, again, my apologies, and please correct me when you get the chance. And our students, again, are from the University of Arkansas, and I'm going to bring up their presentation now.
Hi, I'm Parker Williams, and I'm a third-year undergraduate student at the University of Arkansas and a member of the PEDAL Lab. This presentation will be on the relations between reported CBD efficacy for anxiety and symptom alleviation among CBD users. Cannabidiol, widely known as CBD, has gained a lot of interest for its potential anxiolytic effects, and recent preclinical and human studies have shown promising results towards its anxiolytic effects. Survey work, as well as randomized open-label and placebo-controlled trials, have shown therapeutic impacts on anxiety, including in clinically relevant samples with anxiety-related psychopathology, such as social anxiety disorder and symptoms of generalized anxiety. Though CBD has a promising profile for anxiety alleviation, more work is needed to better understand the utility and impact of using CBD to treat anxiety and related symptoms. The purpose of this study was to further expand on CBD and anxiety literature and examine the relation between differing perceptions of CBD efficacy with anxiety-related symptom alleviation in a sample of CBD users. With regards to methods, we recruited 55 individuals with an average age of around 32 that completed a survey regarding perceptions of CBD use and efficacy, as well as symptom alleviation. After survey completion, we compensated participants with CBD. When running a series of bivariate correlations, we saw meaningful positive relations between perceptions of CBD efficacy for treating their anxiety and ratings of symptom alleviation. Individuals who reported greater CBD efficacy also reported greater symptom alleviation of anxiety, low mood, muscle tension, dizziness or lightheadedness, racing heart or palpitations, and worry. These suggestions are consistent with a lot of recent work suggesting CBD may be effective in treating symptoms of anxiety, as well as other related outcomes such as low mood. A limitation of this study was the small and homogeneous sample. Therefore, future work may replicate this study using a larger, more diverse sample size. In conclusion, CBD may be a promising treatment strategy for reducing anxiety, though more research is needed examining CBD in relation to anxiety to further optimize its potential therapeutic use. Thank you for listening to this presentation. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me at PEW004@uark.edu. Thank you for your time.
Okay. And, now we're going to come back, and I think we have.
Drinking warm water before bed erases
Oh.
years of damage.
Sorry about that. It went into a commercial. Okay, and I think we have Logan with us. Thank you, Logan, and you're one of the authors, is that right? Are any of your co-authors or colleagues here with us today?
No, no one else is here. It's just-
You're the star of the show then, so good. Thank
I
you
guess
very
so.
much for being here, and it's good to talk to you. And we're going to ask some questions. My first question, and it's really not directly related to research, but how do you handle the IRB issues in running a study like this, dealing with substances that are, at some level controlled and so forth? I'm just kind of curious if there's particular issues with the Institutional Review Board, IRB.
Yes, there definitely are, and it's a continuing process of contacting the IRB, getting stuff approved. So it kind of just takes a while of changing our methods and changing how we're trying to run the study to make sure it's safe and no one is going to get harmed in our study. So we basically just make revisions and keep going as we go on in the study.
Yeah, because is it true right now in the state of Arkansas, there's medical marijuana use, but there's not legal recreational. Is that right? So were your participants ones who had medical issues, like they had a prescription, or did you not how did you get your participants or recruit them?
So in our study, we're using CBD, which isn't the same as THC. THC would be marijuana, but we're using CBD, which is legal in the state of Arkansas. So we're recruiting from people that already use CBD, and we're analyzing the effects that they have on their perceived efficacy of the CBD and also their symptom alleviation.
Well, good, great. And from where you're sitting, can you see the chat box?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any questions so far?
So there was a screener that we were given, but I don't believe that we asked if they used any other substances. So another substance that would have an effect on this would be THC, but we did not ask a question regarding that specifically. And then for the control group, I believe we do have a control group of a group of people that do not take the CBD and report their effects, but we're also comparing them to the general population and the literature that we know based on people who have anxiety or worry related situations.
Are there any other questions right now in there? I wanted to ask you, Logan, so what's in your future after you graduate? Do you plan on going on to get a graduate degree? And if so, what area would you like to study?
Yes, I do plan on going to graduate school and getting my master's, and I want to go into clinical psychology, and I want to work in pediatrics, so I want to work with kids.
Good, that's wonderful. Okay, well, thank you very much. And now I'm going to open it up to all the attendees here. If you have any questions for Logan, or maybe even for one of the earlier presenters, I assume they're still with us. You're welcome to ask now. And good. All right. I think we finished up a little bit early there. I'm tempted to throw it back to you, Keela. Are you still there? Can you say hello, Keela?
Yes, I am still here. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Dr. Hines. Thank you for all the students that presented. We definitely appreciate your involvement. It's good to see what the students are doing across the state and the research that's going on. So thank you all, and thank you all for your questions to the students as well. So we do have about 19 minutes. I'm at 12:41. So what we might do is just allow this next portion to be the rest of our lunch break and get in and allow the participants to have a break. So why don't we come back on right at 1 o'clock? And at that time, we're going to do a little bit of networking, but we're also going to really make it a self-care portion, where we're going to just talk some, hopefully together. And I ask for you all's participation in terms of what we're all doing to kind of take care of ourselves as academicians, as clinicians, and just as professionals, kind of 2 years, or actually 2.5 years into the pandemic. So it'll just be more of a conversation in that way. So, but let's come back on at 1 o'clock, please.
Yeah, and one thing did occur to me, and again, I'm not sure if it's on your screen. We do have a graduate student presentation tomorrow. And so if you're going to be here tomorrow at 1, I was going to give a shout out that there'll be a graduate talk on climate change and hurricanes, a study on disaster relief, worker mental health. And I believe Eric Pritchard is going to be moderating that. But again, I wanted to give a plug for that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. That's great. Thanks for